In a country divided by ethnicities, race, religion, or social class, it was an overnight achievement to see Sri Lankans as a whole nation collectively protesting against the growing hardships inflicted by the worst economic crisis the country faced since independence. The nation opened its eyes and realized that a socio-political change was required by eliminating the current corrupted politicians responsible for the situation in the country. People realized that one family controlling the politics in the country, leading to corruption, has been responsible for the large scale financial mismanagement and ill advised policy decisions. Collective frustrations due to the severe shortage of necessities including food, fuel and medicine, whilst the Rajapaksa regime and their political stooges enjoying the continued extravagances causes the frustration and peaked in March this year.
Most of this community who are coming today or been coming are surviving with 2 meals. So we are giving them the responsibility of surviving for 1 meal and we are saying, right, we will support you with 1 meal, but a good healthy meal.
Few now get to eat this well.
It's unavoidable for most. Leeks are up 30%, green chilies 40%, okra, lady's finger 50%, and potatoes 60%, all in a year.
Frustrated, angry people in pockets of individuals across the island took to the streets to voice dissent against the government on April 9th, grouped in large numbers at the precincts of the Presidential Secretariat at the Goldfields Green, swelling and transforming into the most significant unified protest movement in Sri Lanka, known as the Aragalaya, the struggle of the people. Many protesters built their temporary tents and camps at the site day and night until demands were met. The site was named Gotago Gama, the first mistake they made to give the public that the Aragalayas are only wanted to get rid of JR. The struggle started with the hope of getting rid of all corrupt politicians and for a total change of political system in the country, but then getting rid of the president became the central issue of the day. Their first movement in the agenda was to move towards the president's house where Gotha was living. As this peaceful march was moving along Chatham Street in the fort towards the president's house, the police quite rightly barricaded and started sending flying smoke gas. They were successful in breaking through this barricade and they reached the president's house. The peace protest march transformed into a picnic now. What happened beyond that situation was not peaceful. They crashed through the gate of the president's house and immense damage was done to the building. Some of the artifacts were missing. They enjoyed a swim in the pool. Some sat on the expensive lounge chairs, resting their legs on tables, and so on. The purpose of that peaceful march to meet the president became a nightmare for the peaceful protesters. The protesters forgot about their movement and enjoyed the day and further making a picnic of the stay by using the sports facilities, swimming, building, bodybuilding, relaxing on the lounges with feet up, enjoying the food, destroying and stealing artifacts and having fun that they never experienced before. Yes, Gotha went home and worked, as the slogan. But in the end, Gotha and his wife left the country for the Maldives. To Singapore, when he sent the letter of resignation from the presidentship, he temporarily sought asylum in Bangkok and back again in the country. It appears that Aragalaya movement successfully got rid of Gotha as president. Still, Gotha's lifestyle improved. A holiday in Maldives, Singapore and Bangkok with his wife. At midnight of 2nd September, Gothabia arrived at Bandaranaike International Airport on SQ468 flight belonging to Singapore Airlines. Rajapaksa was set to travel from Thailand to Singapore to take the flight, as there were no direct flights between Bangkok and Colombo. After being welcomed by ministers and the politicians of his party, he left the airport in a motorcade heavily guarded by armed soldiers. At around 1 a.m. SLST of the following day, he arrived at the government residence in Mallasekar Mawatha, Colombo. Gotabaya Rajapaksa began secret campaign to clear his failed image. Former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who returned to the country recently after countries were unable to give him asylum, has now begun a secret PR campaign to clear his failed image within the masses, to persuade the villagers that he was misguided in making crucial decisions by those close to him, the Daily Mirror learns. Opinion polls are also being conducted in these villages to gather the people's feedback on Gotabaya Rajapaksa, to test the voters if any public trust remains in the former president. This exercise is obviously to re-enter politics, shall I say recycling. So, the Aragalaya struggle did not serve its purpose. No change has occurred besides a holiday for GR and his wife at the taxpayer's account. Meanwhile, Mahinda Rajapaksa pledges to continue supporting Ranil. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa says he and his party will continue to support President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Addressing a public gathering in Kalsara, the former Prime Minister said that although he, the President Ranil, belonged to the UNP, he is on the right path now, so we have to support him to move the nation ahead, he said. Meanwhile, Namal is back in political action. Sri Lanka Podichala Peramuna SLPP parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa has been appointed as the chairman of the National Council Subcommittee for Identify Priorities in formulating short, medium and long-term policies recommended by the SLPP. I hope this video presentation gives you the purposeful protests that ultimately ended up in nowhere. Meanwhile, Ranil and his team are endeavoring to solve the issues in the country to ease the crisis. Stay safe and goodbye for now.